The beauty of football is that you can move on quickly. And Man United having Real Betis on Thursday night, I tell you what, it's perfect. If we had to wait a week between now and Southampton, it would just fester more and more. But we've got the opportunity to turn it round on Thursday. Get back to winning ways. I'm going to run through my starting 11, all the early team news, and I want to start by speaking for hopefully the final time about this game. I'm not saying that we should forget about this game. You cannot and will never forget when you lose 7-0 to your biggest rivals. However, Manchester United have dealt with adversity on multiple occasions this season. Now, this is definitely the most extreme example of it. But let me quickly rewind and show you what happened at every other turn. Manchester United losing to Brighton and Brentford to kickstart the season. What happened next? We beat Liverpool. We beat Southampton. We scored. Well done. Nice, great website, United. Really, really great website. My word. Look, that's how long. Stupid website. Horrendous. I don't know how anybody's created that. Anyway, beat Liverpool. Beat Southampton. Beat Leicester. Beat Arsenal. What happened when we lost 6-3 to Man City? We beat Omonia. We beat Everton. We beat Omonia. And then we drew against Newcastle there. And then we beat Spurs. What happened when we lost 3-1 to Aston Villa, I hear you ask? We beat Villa a few days later. Then we beat Fulham. Then the World Cup happened. And what happened after that? We beat Burnley, beat Forest, beat Wolves, beat Bournemouth, beat Everton, beat Charlton, beat City. Man United have responded well to adversity this year. And I genuinely think, look, that was only our second defeat in 21 games since the World Cup, and we've won a trophy in that time. It makes you remember how much fans of other clubs and how much the media enjoys watching United be crap. They haven't had much to feast on this season, but they are going to jump on every... And I would jump on it if Liverpool lost 7-0 to us. My point here is we can move forward straight away with this Real Betis game. Now, let's focus on this, and this is exactly what Erik Ten Hag will do. Now, this was my predicted 11 to start on Sunday, and that wasn't actually the team. You had Sabitzer, who went out there. Fred came in there. Wan-Bissaka didn't start. That was obviously Dalot. You had Bruno Fernandes out on the left wing instead of Garnacho. You had Rashford in the number 9 and Weghorst in the number 10 with Anthony out on the right-hand side. And let's be honest, it didn't exactly work. There were fundamental issues. The biggest area of concern was down that right flank. Anthony not tracking back. Dalot getting dragged out of position. Fred dropping into cover, and then that's how the goal was scored. Dalot went aggressive up there on Andy Robertson, didn't he? Fred tried to drop into cover. The ball got played between them. Down there, Varane couldn't stop it. Gakpo curled it in. I think there will be some changes for the team that faces Real Betis, but I don't think it's going to be as wide sweeping as some might suggest. Now, the early team news, we know what it is. Well, we don't know what it is. That's the issue. Casemiro, we're concerned. He looked like he had a bit of an injury against Liverpool. There's no confirmation as to whether he's going to be available or not. And Rafa Varane, there was concerns about him before the game, but he started the game. Jadon Sancho's available. Marcus Rashford, no problems with him. We'll find out on Wednesday whether or not Casemiro is fit to start. But if he is fit to start, I guarantee you he starts. In terms of other players who didn't play well on Sunday, geez, I haven't got all day. All of them underperformed. Luke Shaw in particular stood out for me because for me, I think his progress has been pretty impressive this season. The last couple of games, not been there. There's definitely some sort of Carabao Cup hangover going on here. I don't think that Luke Shaw gets dropped though. I think De Gea keeps his spot. I think Shaw keeps his spot. I think that you can even argue that Martinez wasn't at his best against Liverpool, but of course he wasn't. We lost 7-0. No defence who loses 7-0 is at their best. But I wouldn't drop him. And I don't think Erik Ten Hag will either. I think that back five stays largely the same, apart from one change, which I do think is essential. Right? I thought it going into the game on Sunday. We kind of all did. And it's not Captain Hindsight speaking. Just Wan-Bissaka's form post-World Cup compared to Dalot's form. There's only one player that's Wan-Bissaka. Should have started on Sunday. Ended up being a problem for us. And I repeat, that's not Captain Hindsight speaking. It's just it's the form you can see in front of you. Wan-Bissaka needs to start on Thursday. Dalot needs to up his game, find those pre-World Cup levels, because he's dropped massively. And it's becoming a bit of a problem for Manchester United. So I think that's going to be the back five. The only change is Wan-Bissaka coming in. You might say that Southampton's a more important game. I would argue, because of that result on Sunday, this is the most important game. And I don't think Erik Ten Hag's going to look further ahead than this game. Now, if he is fit, of course, Casemiro starts this game. Now, he's actually one yellow card away from being suspended for the second leg against Real Betis. And the last time he was one yellow card away from a suspension, he got that suspension before the game against Arsenal. But we're home in this first leg. There's no away goals. We win it on Thursday. That's what Erik Ten Hag will be demanding from these players. Don't go to Spain after a draw. Sod that. Take a win to Spain. Make it easier for yourselves. And I think if Casemiro's fit, then Casemiro starts. Now, in terms of his partner, I'm curious as to know whether you think Sabitzer should be coming in. I had Sabitzer down in my personal 11 to face Liverpool because of the defensive solidity he would have added in that first 20, 25 minutes. And I kind of stand by that point. I think Fred was all right, but, well, nobody played well. Actually, no, Fred didn't play all right. Nobody played all right. I personally would bring Sabitzer in. And that's just a choice. Fred, I'd rather see Fred come on for the last half an hour and play really aggressive high up the pitch because he's such a pest at that point. He can't really be stopped. But for me, I want to see Casemiro and Sabitzer. And Sabitzer being there gives a little bit less responsibility on Casemiro to screen everything himself because Sabitzer's a little bit more tactically nuanced when it comes to the defensive side of the game. I would start those two just to make sure that Casemiro doesn't have to lunge in for any of those yellows. My personal preference. Now, a conversation point that's been very fierce this week. In my opinion, there's absolutely no way that Erik Ten Hag drops Bruno Fernandes. If he's not completely fit, that's different. But this is a man who has never missed a game through lack of fitness in his entire career, only through illness. I think Bruno starts. But really importantly, Bruno needs to start in the number 10 position. Bruno has been shifted left and right and everywhere else to accommodate different players at different points this season. Weghorst needs to drop to the bench and Bruno needs to come in that number 10 role. All right? That's the difference between now this game and Anfield. And I expect Bruno to put in a very strong performance. I think some of the criticism has been extreme of Bruno. And that's my personal opinion. You can disagree with that if you want. Sure, he deserves criticism. He's a captain. He should be criticised more than your average player. I think it went a bit far and just seemed to ignore all the good work that he's done in these last few months just because he put in that performance against Anfield. It's just, I don't think that's particularly fair. I think Bruno needs to start in the number 10 role. You can let me know what you think in the comments below. Now, I'd actually start this lad as well. Garnacho hasn't been starting that many games for United. Started against West Ham and obviously came up with the last-minute winner. I think it feels like Erik Ten Hag might be saving his starts for Old Trafford right now. It might just be easing him in slowly. That's kind of a niggling feeling I got in the back of my mind. But I'd definitely bring Garnacho in there. It's either Garnacho or Sancho. Both are going to be available. Who do you start? You could easily throw Sancho in there too. I suppose it depends on what sort of player you want. Do you want someone who's more technically gifted, intricate football, 1-2s, or do you want someone like Garnacho, whose main focus is running your defender, be direct, try and get past him? Which do you want? You can let me know in the comments. Again, somebody else who was heavily criticised after Liverpool, and deservedly so, was Antony. Did not track back enough, left the low a little bit too exposed, and Liverpool had a field day down there. Will Erik Ten Hag drop him? I do not think he will. I think Antony will keep his spot in this starting 11. And I think Rashford, well, as long as Rashford's completely fit, Rashford will start there too. And you might say, Sam, look, they've been playing every 3 days, X, Y, Z. Yes. But after that result, Ten Hag knows the importance of getting a win here, to bury that, to keep the momentum flowing through this club. And that's my predicted starting 11. A back five there of De Gea, fullbacks of Wan-Bissaka and Shaw. Varane and Martinez keeping their partnership together. Maybe we'll see Maguire or Lindelof. Lindelof, I think, missed the Liverpool game through a slight illness. Maybe Maguire comes in for Southampton at the weekend. We'll talk about that after. And midfield three, I've personally gone for Casemiro, Sabitzer, and Bruno. A little bit more defensive, a little bit more secure, in my opinion, and bring Fred on for the last 30. And a front four of Bruno, Rashford, Garnacho, and Anthony. Really good in the transition, that four. Doesn't have the Weghorst holding up the number 10 role, but has Bruno in that natural position, his preferred number 10. My prediction for the game, I think there's going to be a response. I think it's going to be a great response, and I think Old Trafford will get behind these players. I'm hoping for that early goal in the first 20, and for United to be in cruise control from that point on. If we can do that, I would back us to win this 3-0. That's going to be my prediction. I might be spectacularly wrong. This may well be a hangover that goes much further than any other bad result we've had. But after we lost 4-0 to Brentford and lost 2-1 to Brighton, we won 4 in a spin. After we lost 6-3 to City, I think we went undefeated 4 or 5 games, including beating Spurs. After we lost 3-1 to Villa, we went on a massive unbeaten run. And I'm hoping we get the same response from these players after that performance at Anfield, because I tell you what, we need it. Ten Hag will be demanding it. And there's been so much progress. As I said, 2 defeats in 21 games. And what, all of a sudden, all the wheels coming off? No. It's not the case. And I trust Ten Hag to make sure these players remember that momentum, and take that back into the team, because what happened at Anfield has to be a one-off. A really bad memory it will always be. But that's my predicted 11. That's my prediction. 3-0. I think Bruno starts. I think Anthony starts. And I hope to see Wan-Bissaka coming in at right back. You can let me know your prediction in the comments below. But hopefully after Thursday, we can turn him back around. Wonder if he's cheered up yet.